Divine Hand Ensemble, a nine-piece group from Philadelphia, PA, have been haunting church lofts and main stages around the world for years. This group is led by Mano Divina, who has mastered a mysterious instrument called a theremin, played by a simple sleight of hand that seems to capture electricity from thin air and converts it into sound. He is joined by an ensemble that includes a string quartet, classical guitar, two harps, and a glockenspiel that offer up classical music for the 21st century. It's proving to be haunting and beautiful while ensuring a moving experience. The members that comprise the Divine Hand Ensemble are self-described unconventional personalities.
Just start the sentence over.
The members that comprise the Divine Hand Ensemble are self-described unconventional personalities that specialize in performing a composer's most achingly beautiful works. They managed to perfect this love of music, turning it into an art form uniquely their own, and are now featured in a full-length documentary, scheduled to tour as a part of the prestigious Tesla conventions in Canada, and will be playing at the Sellersville Theater this upcoming October 31st for their third annual Halloween performance. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Divine Hand Ensemble to Transitions Radio.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on. We are so excited to have you guys, but I have to say, there's 9 of you and 2 of us, and a lot of people in the audience. So let's go around and introduce yourself and what you play, what you do.
That sounds like a great idea. Let's start over there.
My name is John L. Lawrence, and I play the viola.
My name is Gloria Galante, and I'm harp 1.
Mary Bryson, harp 2.
John Salmon, cello and arranger.
Sean Carnahan, classical guitar.
Shouldn't we be saying our favorite breakfast cereals?
You can say that as well.
I'm Julie Myers and I play violin.
Mano Divina, concert theremin.
My name is Monique Cunier and I play violin.
I'm Daniel Whitehoff and I play the glockenspiel. I like life cereal, but not so much cinnamon life.
Oh, that's a shame. Cinnamon, it adds a little extra something special.
Indeed it does. Anybody else with the cereal comments very quickly?
Puffins.
Quisp.
Crisp. Okay. No Cocoa Puffs?
Blueberry.
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 Very well.
All right, I'll do that.
What brought all of you, 9 very unique, self-described unconventional personalities, together in the Divine Hand Ensemble?
That'd be me.
How did it
I
start?
brought them all.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm a thereminist, and there's other thereminists in the world. There's not that many of them, but there are a few. And I wanted to do what other thereminists were not doing. They were all performing solo, but I wanted to hear the voice of the theremin with the sound of strings. So I put together a string ensemble, which is comprised of a double quartet. We have your standard string quartet to one side, that's viola, 2 violins, and cello, and then a second string quartet to the other side, that's 2 harps, classical guitar, and of course glockenspiel. So we came together because of that. I auditioned a lot of musicians from Philadelphia, and about a year ago, maybe a little bit more, all these folks joined me. So we've been a group like that since.
And since then, you guys have been doing some amazing things. I mean, your website, thedivinehand.net, for all of our listeners out there, has some quite spectacular specialties for the eyes. There's some great videos on there, and very intriguing. It's sort of like a classical yet dangerous-looking music video. I was very intrigued by it.
Well, we did try. One of the things with a theremin, and I know a lot of folks don't know what a theremin is, and we'll get to that in a minute, but one of the things about the theremin is that it's a visual instrument. To hear it is one thing, but it's played so unconventionally that it is something you do want to see. So when it came time to shoot the videos, which were shot by Sergio Herrera, he's also the director of the documentary, we wanted to take a somewhat unconventional approach to what classical music normally does. What we're trying to do is more 21st century classical music. We're trying to take something that's tried and steeped in tradition and not alter it much, but present it with a slightly modern format. And because the instrument is so space age, that it puts it in the 21st century while still not losing track of the classical foundation it's built upon.
And in this endeavor to create this new sound, you have been picked up for a documentary. Well, let's hear all about this.
Okay, anyone else knows the documentary story? I guess it's just me. All right, so what ended up happening was, you guys just turn your mics off. This is my show. What ended up happening was we were asked to perform a concert recording for Channel 12. And we went about starting to record one concert. And they had mentioned to us that the last concert recording they did, the artist, whoever it was, didn't want to do any backstage footage or anything beyond them performing. And they asked if we would be opposed to doing that. And we said no, we welcome it. You want to film our sound check? And it just snowballed into a documentary of a year in the life of a classical group in Philadelphia. So we had our camera crew follow us around for every event we've done so far this year, and we'll continue to do so up until the end of the year. And when the documentary is edited, everything that this group has done will be presented in a linear fashion so that you can kind of see our year that we went through. And it gives a good insight for people who are non-professional classical musicians to see a little bit of what it's all about, to try to get your ensemble noticed by the public. And it gives us an opportunity to film everything, and we have filmed everything. There's been rehearsals and sound checks and concerts, lectures, all kinds of things. The making of the video, we filmed everything there. And pretty much everything is snowballed up until that, right up to this interview.
Performing classical music is sort of a serious affair. So it's a very serious stage performance that's kind of showcased in the videos that we have and most classical performances that you see. Describe some of the unconventional personalities that go along with your, the way that you approach classical music off the stage, how you approach the band away from an audience.
John, you want to take this on? This group has a weird infatuation with bacon. And that's what I'll pass the mic.
Join the club, buddy. Talk to Callie after the show, by the way.
Oh, yes, please. Please do. I own a bacon farm.
Girl,
marry me,
Carrie.
You gotta let us come over and rehearse over at your house. Well, I don't know how to put this into words. Classical music has been in existence for centuries upon centuries. And in the modern age, it's, at least when it comes to youth and people our age, I mean, you have no idea how many times we've gone to a concert and the audience members are so taken aback by how young we all are. And so many people our age think of classical music as something boring and not fresh and exciting. And I think the Divine Hand Ensemble really has something going with putting a new twist on classical music. It's like you said, our website has something sort of dangerous and exciting about it, and that's what our music has too. It's mysterious and it's exciting, and it's interesting, and it makes classical music interesting, and that's what I love about it. It's great.
And there's an awful lot of giggling and joking that really shouldn't happen before we play like a solemn Beethoven piece or like a piece from a mass or a sacred solo, and we're telling dirty jokes and tittering. even in concerts, the audience will say, "You guys are awfully," what was that word? Boisterous or something like that. a little too giggly for a serious classical group.
I actually have recordings of rehearsal. You would think somebody had edited two different things together, because you'll hear the group cracking up and cracking jokes and it sounds like a party, and then all of a sudden it gets totally quiet, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a very solemn Beethoven piece comes out. We're always amazed ourselves listening back to the tape how funny the juxtaposition is. But that's part of when we get on stage, what we do is very serious, but that doesn't always reflect the personalities of the group.
Yeah, you can never take yourself too seriously, and it's really easy to do that with classical music these days. And our group, we don't take ourselves seriously enough, really. So.
But we do take the music seriously, so that's our balance.
That is one thing that the Divine Hand and Transitions has in common. Just not taking ourselves very seriously.
I do take myself very seriously. If there's anybody here by chance from 6ABC who's listening who wants to speak with me afterwards, I have a resume. I'm kidding. It seems like a family dynamic almost here. Now, do the violins gang up on the viola? Do the two harps get together and be the peanut gallery? Is the glockenspiel off in the back, kind of left alone, the forgotten middle child?
The only thing we fight over is who gets the most bacon in the morning.
Bacon and giggling, boisterous bacon.
Not what you expect with Beethoven.
Well, having the two clearly heaviest instruments, both our harps are up easily 80 pounds, and we are big, burly women. As we like to keep in shape and have fun, right, Gloria?
Absolutely. I think another thing about this group that's really amazing is that we're like one voice, and yet we're all different backgrounds, different ethnicities, and we also have a lot of things that we share and we bring to the table for the oneness of the group. So, you know, classical music dates back to 1600 to 1750, but yet our music has kind of a new sound with a wonderful arranger with John and mono and all of the different combinations. We all actually contribute in small ways, but also, I would say, you know, it's just, like you said, a family feel, but more than that, it's very adventurous music, as well as, you know, we have different, not only classical, opera, and different genres, and I think, you know, the younger generation than all of us, it's good to have some kind of good music for them to look up as role models instead of a lot of other music that they listen to.
You guys do pull in a crowd of, I mean, those who love classical music, genuine, you know, classical music, but also, Mano was saying, a college crowd, and some sort of, you know, outsiders that you wouldn't expect to have a classical following. So I think what you say is very important, and, you know, how did you set in mind with this goal, we want to attract an odd, you know?
That's a good point, Callie. We're amazed ourselves when we look out at the audience at the diversity and the vast musical background. There's obviously opera lovers who come to see us, and obviously very standard classical lovers that come to see us. Then there's a whole college crowd. We see very young people, we see very old people. We see a big diversity mix of all kinds of people who seem to be enjoying what we're doing. We didn't set out to do that. Our goal was to, as John said earlier, choose beautiful music that we thought a composer wrote specifically as a sort of hand up to God in beauty, using their gift to write something particularly moving to the human condition, to the human heart. And that's what we chose our repertoire by. And when we get up on stage to perform it, so many vast people or different people are moved by it that we've started to collect this, wow, look how wide this is reaching. It comes from our family repertoire, I mean our family dynamic, but it also comes from the repertoire we chose to play.
I think, what were you talking about? I had really something important to say. Oh yeah, because I think we attract, you know, all different kinds of different people in the audience because, you know, I mean, we call ourselves a classical group, but the material that we cover is like as diverse as it can get. Like in one single concert that's an hour and a half long, we go from, you know, Renaissance music to Queen covers. You know, it's like about as much material as one ensemble can possibly cover. I see your heart throbbing over there. But yeah, and then, I don't know, like everybody in the audience gets to hear what we do with all these different styles of music and trying to make it our own, and everyone has their own individual voice, but the ensemble is, you know, as a whole, I think is going for the same sound, you know, a unity of sound, whatever the style.
I think it just goes to show that beautiful music is beautiful music. People love it. It doesn't matter what background they're coming from or anything like that. They come, I've met people who've never heard opera before, don't care for opera, that enjoyed our show just as much as people who love opera. So it's that mix, it's that movement to people by choosing beautiful music to move them regardless where they come from musically. And it does all fit. When we're doing a Rush song and then we're doing a Mozart opera aria, they do go next to each other, and most groups really couldn't get away with that.